Hi everyone, welcome to APPSC Group 1 Prelims, Indian and Andhra Pradesh Economy and Planning. In this series, in my previous video, I dealt with Niti Aayog and its approach to economic development. You can go through the same in my playlist. And in this video, I'll be dealing with growth and distributive justice, economic development, human development index, India's rank in the world. So in this video, as part of this growth and distributive justice and human development aspect, I'll be dealing with what is growth, what is distributive justice, and what is the economic development, and what is the human development perspective, and what is the human development index, and how it is being calculated, and what are the what is the performance of India since 1990 to 2020, and how India is fared when compared to the world in terms of human development. So first we will see what is distributive justice. So as far as exam is concerned, you don't need to go through the theoretical perspectives or theoretical aspects of the distributive justice. It is suffice if you know what is the distributive justice as a concept, so that if at all any questions was asked on this aspect, you will be able to answer the question. So first, what is distributive justice? Distributive justice concerns the socially just allocation of goods. Here you need to focus on the word socially just allocation. So distributive justice concerns the allocation of goods. In which manner? It must be socially just manner. That is, it must be reasonable, both politically, economically, and socially. And the principles of distributive justice, they will provide a moral guidance. For whom? For the political processes and structures. For what? That affect the distribution of benefits and burdens in society. For instance, the political processes and structures in India are, for example, democratic political process, as India is being a democracy. And as far as structures are concerned, like legislature, police or bureaucracy, judiciary. So all these are the political processes and structures. For these political processes and structures, the principles of distributive justice provides a sort of moral guidance. For what purpose? To affect the distribution of benefits and burdens in the society. So, and another aspect about the distributive justice is that the basic principle of distributive justice is that equal work should produce equal outcomes, and some people should not accumulate a disproportionate amount of goods. So the basic premise of the distributive justice is that for any equal work, the equal outcomes should be provided, and there should not be any accumulate of disproportionate amount of goods. So in order to discourage or in order to reduce the scope for this amassing of wealth disproportionate to their work or input, distributive justice principle is necessary in any economy. Now there are 5 different types of distributive norms are there. That means based on which norms are based on what norms the distributive justice should work. And these norms are equality, equity, power, need, and responsibility. These based on these 5 norms, the distributive justice principles should work. First, we will see about equality. Equality is that regardless of their inputs, all the group members should be given an equal share of the rewards or costs. So here all the members are equally treated. Whether they are contributing more inputs or less input, it doesn't matter. And it is also known as the strict egalitarianism. And equity. Members' outcomes should be based on their inputs. That means if a member is providing more inputs, he will be provided more outcome. If a member is providing less inputs, he will be provided less outcome. This is the concept of equity. And equity should be, and it says that equals should be treated equally and unequal should be unequally. This is the main motto of the equity. And power norm says that those with more power should receive more than those in lower level positions. And the need norm says that those in greatest needs should be provided with the resources needed to meet those needs. And the responsibility norm says that group members who have the most should share their resources with those who have less. So these are the five types of distributive norms. So now we will see what is the significance of this distributive justice. So what is the importance of this distributive justice? So it provides for balanced empowerment or balanced empowerment, which is political empowerment, economic empowerment, social empowerment, etc. And it provides for welfare of the individual. So distributive justice is basically concerned with the individual, whereas social justice is basically concerned about the society as a whole. Here in distributive justice, individual is an entity. In social justice, society is an entity. So next important of distributive justice is that it reduced the scope of concentration of wealth in the hands of few individuals. So it will reduces the scope or environment of concentration of wealth in the hands of few individuals. It is very important to reduce the inequality or social unrest in a society. Now we will see what is the relationship between economic growth and distributive justice. It is important to know the relationship between economic growth and distributive justice, because mere economic growth doesn't achieve human development. There must be some sort of distributive justice in order to achieve the desired human development. So economic growth basically refers to the effective increase in production of goods and services in a country over a period of time. It merely refers to the effective increase in the production of goods and services in a country over a period of time. For example, 1 year or 2 years, 5 years, etc. So which may or may not mean qualitative improvement in living standards for all. So mere economic growth doesn't say anything about the qualitative improvement in living standards for all. The concept of economic growth generally does not address the problem of unequal development. It only sees the development from the single prism, that whether economy is developing or not, whether growth is happening or not. It doesn't concern about the problem of unequal development or inequality in the society. So it looks at the quantitative aspect and not the qualitative one. So next, the concept of distributive justice refers to the allocation of goods and resources in a country to all the citizens in an equitable manner. And another thing is that distributive justice aims to follow an ethical code wherein people are willing to share their wealth and compromise on individual economic growth so as to provide for the poor. That means it provides for a ethical code in which the ones are people who are having or who are willing to share their wealth and compromise on the individual economic growth so as to provide for the poor, so that they can share the surplus, they can share their surplus to the needy people or who are not well to work. Next, we will move to what is human development or human development aspect. So what is the human development actually? And as per the United Nations Development Program UNDP, human development is the process of enlarging people's choices. So it is basically enlarging or creating more opportunities for the people's choices, be it in education, health, sanitation, livelihood opportunities, etc. So it is basically enlarging the people's choices, which is a simple and basic definition of human development or progress. So next question arises that how it has been measured. Okay, human development is the enlarging people's choices, but how to measure these? So here for decades it was measured in terms of economic growth or an increase in per capita gross domestic product. This approach is straightforward and easy to use. However, it failed to measure the qualitative aspect of the development. That means the economic growth, which is measured in terms of GDP, Though it is a straightforward and easy one, but it has failed to measure the qualitative aspect of the development. It is only concerned with the quantitative aspect. Now, how the conceptual emergence happened, that is, conceptual emergence of human development. Here, the roots of the concept of human development can be traced to early periods in human history and can be found in many cultures and regions. Here, we need to remember that the human development concept is not new, or it is not a modern phenomenon. We can trace the concept of human development to early periods in human history, and it can be found in many cultures and religions. For instance, in ancient Greece, Aristotle argued that wealth is evidently not the good we are seeking, for it is merely useful for the sake of something else. It says that wealth is not the only good we are seeking for, it is only the means to achieve something else. And the concept of human development emerged in the late 1980s based on the conceptual foundation which is provided by Dr. Amartya Sen and Dr. Mahbubul Haq. These two names you have to remember because they will come again and again in the human development process. So, in the human development approach, it puts the people at the center of the development agenda, where economic growth and wealth are considered as means to development, not an end by itself. So, here wealth and economic growth are merely the means of development and they are not an end in itself. Next, we will see about Human Development Report. The United Nations Human Development Program publishes the Human Development Report once in a year, and Human Development Report focuses on human development approach that entails people and their opportunities and choices. As I already told, that human development approach focuses more on the opportunities and choices of people. So basically, what are the objectives of the Human Development Report? See, the advancement of the human development is one objective, and expansion of opportunities, choices, and freedom of people across the globe. And another objective is to introduction of the innovative ideas which are concerning human development, and advocacy of practical policy changes, and challenging the policies and approaches that hinder human development. These are the basic objectives of Human Development Report. Next, as part of the Human Development Report, UNDP publishes 5 indices. They are Human Development Index, Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index, Gender Development Index, Gender Inequality Index, and Multidimensional Poverty Index. As part of our syllabus, the syllabus mentioned only about Human Development Index. So I will be dealing with only Human Development Index and how it is being calculated, and what is the India's rank in recent years, and how, if we compare, how India has performed if compared with other countries. So now, what is Human Development Index? We will see some of the basic facts first. First, Human Development Report was published in 1990 by the UNDP. The Human Development Report had a Human Development Index, which was the first attempt to define and measure the levels of development. The index was a product of select team of leading scholars, development practitioners, and members of the Human Development Report Office of the UNDP. So it is the work of many scholars and development practitioners. And the first such team which developed the human development was led by Mahbubul Haq and Igne Kaul. These two persons are instrumental in bringing the human development in the first Human Development Report or Human Development Index. Next, Human Development Index. It is an human development indicator which ranks countries by combining measures of 3 dimensions which are given below. These 3 dimensions, like long and healthy life, knowledge, and decent standard of living, these 3 indicators are instrumental in compiling Human Development Index. So next question arises, how it is being measured. So Human Development Index is having 3 main indicators, that is healthy life, knowledge, and another aspect is standard of living. The question arises how these are being calculated. As far as healthy life is concerned, it is measured by life expectancy at birth. That is how many years an individual will be able to live after birth. And knowledge is having 2 components. One is knowledge level of the people, and another is the access to learning and knowledge. And it is having 2 components. Mean years of schooling is one component, and expected years of schooling is another component. As far as the knowledge level is concerned, it is being measured by the mean years of schooling, that is among the adult population, which is nothing but the average number of years of schooling received in a lifetime by people aged 25 years and older. So the people who is having 25 years of age and older, how many years or how many average number of years of schooling they will be received in their lifetime is what is mean by mean years of schooling. As far as access to learning and knowledge is concerned, it is measured by the expected years of schooling for children of school entry age, which is nothing but total number of years of a schooling a child of school entry age can expect to receive if the prevailing patterns of age specific enrollment rates stay the same throughout the child's life. That is, the age, if we consider the same age specific enrollment rates to remain, then how many years of schooling a child of school entry age will receive, that constitutes the expected years of schooling. This is nothing but the expected years of schooling for children of school age entry, and this constitutes the access of learning and knowledge. And the third aspect is standard of living, which is measured by gross national income per capita, that too in terms of constant 2017 international dollars, which are converted using purchasing power parity conversion rates. So based on the purchasing power parity, we will calculate the gross national per capita income, and which constitutes the indicator for standard of living in the Human Development Index. Finally, the Human Development Index sets a minimum and maximum for each dimension, which is called as goalpost, and then shows where each country stands in relation to these goalposts, whether it is having zero development indicator or it is having one development indicator or in between. So it is expressed as a value between 0 and 1. If it is 0, it means that it is having least development or no development at all. If it is 1, it is having an absolute development. So basically this index is prepared on the scale of 1. Now in 2010, there were some important changes to the Human Development Report. We will see those changes in the Human Development Report. This is specifically I am doing because in 2019 Group 1 prelims paper, there was a question about what is the rank of Human Development Index of India in the year 2010, which was specifically put up because in 2010 there were some important changes to the Human Development Index. That is the reason I will be discussing this. Changes in Human Development Report. Since 2010, some new measures of aspects of human development were introduced to complement the Human Development Index, which was already there, and capture some of the missing dimensions of the development, such as poverty, inequality, gender gaps. For example, Human Development Index is capturing only 3 components, that is healthy life, and then knowledge, and then standard of living. So it is missing on some important dimensions like what is the poverty, what is the inequality status, what are the gender gaps, etc. So in order to address these missing dimensions in 2010, the Human Development have introduced some important changes. Since 2010, Human Development Report Office has published the Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index, which adjusts the nation's Human Development Index value for inequality within each of its components: life expectancy, education, and income. So basically the Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index will adjust the value of Human Development Index for inequality which is in the core components of the Human Development Index. For example, in life expectancy, education, and income. So because of the inequalities that existed in life expectancy and education and income, how much a country is losing its Human Development Index, that we can find out in Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index. And another introduction was Multidimensional Poverty Index, which measures the people's deprivations directly, how people are being deprived of some of the services, how people are deprived of the some of the facilities, and how this is leading to multidimensional poverty. Similarly, the Human Development Report Office efforts was to measure gender inequalities, which was began in the 1995 Human Development on Gender itself. And recent reports have introduced 2 indices on gender. One which is accounting for differences between men and women in the HDI dimensions, and other a composite of inequalities in empowerment and well-being. These 2 new indices on gender will show how much HDI value is lost due to gender differences and due to differences in gender empowerment.
So basically these are the changes which are brought in the human development report in subsequent years. We will see some issues about the inequality adjusted human development index because it is the important component of human development report. So as I said earlier, it is an indicator of the human development report in 2010. Apart from three dimensions that HDI uses while ranking countries, that the inequality adjusted human development index considers inequality as the fourth dimension. See, healthy life, knowledge, and standard of living, these are considered in human development index. These are the three dimensions which were covered by human development index, and inequality is considered as the fourth dimension in order to measure the loss of human development index because of the inequality existing in these three dimensions. Now we will move to the human development report 2020. It came with the tagline that the next frontier, human development and Anthropocene. So here, Anthropocene is referred to a geological timescale which is used to describe the most recent period in its history where human activity is having a significant impact on the planet's climate and ecosystem. For instance, consider CO2 emissions and greenhouse gas emissions. These are showing huge impact on the planet, its climate and ecosystems. Now we will see the important aspects related to Human Development Report 2020. In Human Development Report 2020, India has ranked 131 among the 189 countries on Human Development Index for 2019, and it has slipped 2 places from the previous year's rank. And the Human Development Report 2020 has introduced a new or innovative index, that is Planetary Pressures Adjusted Human Development Index, which adjusts the standard human development index by a country's per capita carbon dioxide emissions and material footprint. That is, by considering the per capita CO2 emissions and material footprint an economy or a nation is having on the planet, it adjusts the human development index. Now we will see India's performance. As far as overall performance is concerned, Human Development Index value for 2019 is of India is 0.645, which puts the country in the medium human development category. You have to remember this, that India has been placed in the medium human development category, positioning it at 131 out of the 189 countries and territories. Now, between 1990 and 2019, India's Human Development Index value increased from 0.429 to 0.645, which is an increase of 50.3%, which is a significant improvement as far as Human Development Index is concerned. And as far as the constituent parts or indices are concerned, long and healthy life. The life expectancy for India's so life expectancy for India was 69.7 years in 2019, slightly lower than the South Asia average of 69.9 years. Between 1990 and 2019, India's life expectancy at birth increased by 11.8 years, which is also a significant improvement. And as far as access to knowledge is concerned, the expected years of schooling in India was 12.2 years compared with 11.2 years in Bangladesh and 8.3 years in Pakistan. And between 1990 and 2019, mean years of schooling increased by 3.5 years and expected years of schooling increased by 4.5 years. However, these improvements are good as compared to international standards, but there is still scope to improve in these two indicators. And a decent standard of living in terms of gross national income GNI per capita, India at $6,681 fared better than some others in 2019 despite a fall over the previous year. So India's GNI per capita increased by about 273.9% between 1990 and 2019. This is a very significant improvement as far as standard of living is concerned. Now we will see comparison of India's Human Development Index trends with other countries, because it was significant, it was especially mentioned in the syllabus. Now we will see what is India's trends in the Human Development Index. For instance, in the 1990s, the HDI value of India is 0.429, which has improved to 0.57 in 2010, and further it has improved to 0.6 645. So there is a good amount of increase as far as human development index value is concerned. In the same way, the GNA per capita is also increased from 1787 to 6681, which is, as I earlier told, an increase of nearly 273%. The similar thing was represented in a graphical way. You can see that human development value has increased, but it was not an exponential increase. However, there is a steady increase in the human development value from 1990s to 2020. Now, relative comparison with other countries. For example, human development progress as measured by the Human Development Index is useful for comparison between two or more countries. For instance, during the period between 1990 and 2019, India, Pakistan and Bangladesh experienced different degrees of progress towards increasing their human development indexes. Now we are comparing India's human development increase with our neighboring countries, mainly Pakistan and Bangladesh, for the period of 1990 and 2019. If you see the graph of Bangladesh and India, there was a steady increase of human development index of both the countries. However, Bangladesh human development index curve shows that it is below India as far as the level of human development value is concerned. As far as Pakistan is concerned, it has been started above Bangladesh in the 1990s, but however the human development value of the Pakistan has decreased when compared to the Bangladesh, and it is also lower compared to the India's human development index. So India's 2019 human development index value is 0.645, which is above the average of 0.631 for countries in the medium human development group. So here he is saying that the value of the human development index for medium human development countries group is 0.631, if we compare with this value with the India's value, India is above that level, that is India's value is 0.645, and it is also above the average of 0.64% for the countries in South Asia also. So from South Asia, India is compared with Bangladesh and Pakistan, which have human development index ranked 133 and 154 respectively. So when compared to Pakistan and Bangladesh, India's human development index rank is also better. Here, this is the table for comparison between India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, South Asia and medium human development index. So you can go through this to find out the comparative perspective. And there is one more graph to represent the performance of India when compared to the world as a whole. Here if you observe the human development value, India's human development value is 0.645 in 2020, whereas world's human development value is 0.73%. In this respect, India has to perform more. And GDI value, that is Gender Development Index value, India's value is 0.820 and world's value is 0.943. Here also India has to work out as far as Gender Development Index is concerned. And if you observe Gender Inequality Index value, India's value is 0.488 and world's value is 0.436. And Multidimensional Poverty Index value, here India's value is 0.123 and developing countries value is 0.108. And Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index value, here India's value is 0.475 and world's value is 0.587. In this respect also India has to work out more when compared to the world. Now we will see previous year questions. In 2019 Group 1 prelims paper, there was a question about the Human Development Index. According to 2010 Human Development Index, which is calculated, compiled and computed from the UNDP Human Development Report for 169 countries, what is the rank of the rank of India? This was specifically asked or specifically mentioned in the paper because in 2010, as I already told you, there are some important changes in the Human Development Report in the sense that in 2010 there was an introduction of Multidimensional Poverty Index and Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index, etc. Because of that important changes, this Human Development Index 2010 was asked 2010 was focused in the examination. So as far as the 2010 Human Development Index report, the rank of India is 119. And another question which was asked in 2013 UPSC related to economic growth of the country. So economic growth in the country X will necessarily have to occur if, so here the question is asking that a country's economic growth will necessarily occur if which of the following is happened. That is, if you see the options, there is technical progress in the world economy, there is population growth in the country X, there is capital formation in the country X, the volume of trade grows in world economy. If you see the first option, it is saying that there is technical progress in world economy. If there is a technical progress in world economy, it doesn't necessarily mean that economic growth in a country will improve. And if there is a population growth in the country, it doesn't necessarily mean that there will have been a economic growth. If you consider option C, if there is a capital formation in country X, then there is necessary condition or necessarily economic growth of a country must have been improved. So for this question, the correct answer is C, that is, there is a capital formation in the country X. Okay, this is all about the Human Development Index and India's performance in human developments and economic growth and distributive justice. For further classes, please keep watching. Thank you.